Our first podcast is sponsored by American Remodeling Enterprises. With over 35 years of remodeling experience, we offer quality remodeling done right. Whether you're looking for a new roof, premium siding, windows, doors, cabinet resurfacing, shower and tub replacements, or other remodeling services, American Remodeling is your local trusted business. For your free quote, call us at 888-739-7339 or visit us online at americanremodeling.net. Welcome to the State of Stupidity. We're here to discuss current events and the world at large because we've been in a slow and steady decline over the last few years. Last few decades, honestly. But Jay and I got together. We've been in each other's orbit for about 2 years now. And in those 2 years, we seem to be very like-minded in thought patterns to where the more we conversed, the more we realized, hey, why not start recording our conversations? Other people might be interested in our thoughts.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
To be upfront, I'm a registered Republican, but honestly, I'd rather be an independent. I think we need a third party in the country because I don't think anybody that's a true Republican or a true Democrat's happy with either party, to be honest with you.
Well, that's a great jumping point because to me, I'm an unregistered voter. Because to me, to be a registered voter means you're giving into the matrix, you're putting your energy into the system, so that you can't bitch. You know what I mean? Because you voted, so you gave the energy to the system. Me trying to live my life and just be me as a conscious creator in this world. I have to interact with people who are buying into bullshit and nonsense whenever I step out the door. People who are buying into things that have absolutely zero effect on their inner reality, their daily reality. But because it's what they see on their phones, their TVs, they're losing their minds over shit that doesn't matter. Just because it's helping to profit people who don't actually provide any real goods or services to the people at large.
Well, absolutely. Let's face it. None of these politicians want to get elected to do the job to help the country grow or even their constituents grow.
Right.
They're looking at it to grow their bank accounts. Look at the president right now. The guy was against, gay marriage, which to me, I don't really care one way or the other. If they want to get married, let them get married. I don't care. Yeah. But he was completely against it. He said it wasn't even 4 or 5 years ago that a marriage between a man and a woman. Then when it benefits him, now marriage can be whoever wants to marry whoever can marry him. So, obviously he's doing everything he can just to get elected, stay elected, and he's been doing it his whole life.
Decades. He's made a whole career. That's the problem. We've gotten to the age of career politicians, and that should have never been a thing. It should have been a service that was an in and out to help people because, it's 2023. We should have easily have come up with the ways to help each other out and be there for each other, but we've incentivized this victimhood. And this whole idea of woe is me, I need someone to help me. No, we need to get back to teaching people how to help themselves and give them the confidence, give them the skills and the means to make something of themselves.
Exactly. And they talk about racism, and you have Joe Biden up there talking about how the biggest threat to democracy is the white guy. Well, who do you think you are? You're the old white guy that was racist in your own right. Early in your career, you created half these laws that put these black people in prison, and now all of a sudden you want to be the savior. You're going to save them all. You profit off of putting them in there. Now you're going to profit off of trying to get them out. It's kind of ridiculous.
Well, and that's just it. In the past few years, and looking back at the history of things over the course of the last 52 a century of just the United States history, the same names keep coming up. Fauci. Gates.
Clintons.
They're
the
all,
Bush.
Yeah.
When's Bush coming back? They're going to make their return.
And see, that's the whole thing is that's where I view it as more of a giant purple monster.
Yeah.
Where, because there is, they baton pass where, I mean, it's just the giant purple people eater trying to consume.
It's just all it is it's a big TV show.
Right.
They go on TV, they hate each other.
Yeah.
Then when the doors are closed and they think the mics are off, then they're all buddy, and
exactly.
they got one over on the American people again.
And then when O'Keefe gets them on footage,
exactly.
And then now they want to try. Did you see Project Veritas is trying to keep him from starting his new company?
Exactly. When they had him on tape that they didn't know they were being recorded, now all of a sudden the guy that recorded them is the bad guy because he set them up.
Exactly.
How we set you up to say what you actually truly believe. I mean, that just blows my mind.
It's ridiculous.
And they talk about both sides even talk about it with how the biggest threat to democracy is the Republicans. The biggest threat to democracy is the Democrats. No, the biggest threat to democracy
is D.C.
It's not even D.C. It's the news because the news doesn't report the news.
Well, they control it.
They report the news that they want you to hear on the party that they favor or that they like or dislike. They don't care about. They don't report the news like they did years ago. When they came on the news years ago, they told you what happened. They didn't tell you what they thought happened or their opinion of what happened.
But they were still being given talking points because about a decade or so ago, when Megyn Kelly was going through the whole Epstein situation, where she was trying to do something about it, do what a journalist should, her upper-ups stopped her.
But now
there was a time where there was a part of that story that kind of got brushed under the rug, where all these news companies receive a fax first thing in the morning with 10 different bullet points of talking points that they are allowed to discuss. And that's it.
Yeah.
If they go off that script, that's when the big boys are coming down to slap them on the hand.
The thing is, it's so blatant anymore now, though. Before, 10 years ago or 20 years ago, they did a lot better job of hiding it. Now they're just right out in plain sight and doing it. And, the people I feel sorry for, these young kids, they need to stand up, they need to rise up, and I'm not talking about knocking the doors down or anywhere. They need to get together, and somebody needs to bring out a third party and get these old, outdated politicians, put them in a nursing home where they belong. No 80-year-old with their face sagging needs to be trying to tell kids that are 25, 30 years old what kind of laws they're going to follow when these people are dead and in their grave. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
The thing is you are... Okay, so as far as generations go, you're like the eldest millennial, technically, where your generation lies. Exactly. And I feel like what the boomers did was totally isolated out the millennial generation from being able... They manipulated the Gen Xers into this victimhood mentality, and then once they had that instilled into the Gen Xers are raising the millennials to be just shut up, do as you're told, get in line, this is the way we're going to do it. But then once the Gen Xers became grandparents, well, now we're going to coddle the next generation. Exactly. Well, wait, you trained the millennials to be these good hard workers, these people who can build something from the ground up, but then you want to teach the next generation that that's not how to do it, to look for the handout. There's that.
And that all comes down to the politicians. Yeah. They knew that they were going to get the votes on the hard working, and now they know they're going to get the votes on let's give you something for free. Yeah. I mean, they know what they're doing. It's like I said, it's all a matter of staying in power. Oh, yeah. And neither party is ever going to actually truly let there be a third party in the country. No. They're never going to do that.
What was the last one? There was the Tea Party movement. There was the Green movement.
But there's no true third party in the country, which there needs to be. That's what needs to happen because, I mean, even this debt ceiling they just passed, that thing's the biggest joke. We argued and we threatened that we were going to go over the debt ceiling for weeks only to get some watered down nonsense that isn't going to do anything anyway. It's going to save $1.5 trillion over 10 years. Give me a break. That's a joke.
How many times does that happen? How many?
It happens all the time.
It's a cycle. It's a part of the cycle. They basically, what they've done is they've rinsed and repeated the same pattern too many times that it's become that obvious and that blatant. I mean, look at the flu shit where every 2 years of an election cycle, there's some sort of, like, even before 2020 happened and all that nonsense, if you go back and track, like, all the other times that they used the media, and that's just it. It's DC using the media to basically, do what the etymology of government is mind control. And that's all they're trying to do is keep everybody as free-range tax producers. Because the tax money
they don't want to produce in taxes.
Well, no, but they want it. Well, that's how they keep their pockets lined.
Yeah, but
while they're doing their human trafficking.
Well, they're not really lining their pockets like that. They're lining because the tax money. I mean, I guess they're getting some stuff off of there, but it's not even. If you think about it, they're not lining their money even with taxes because there aren't enough taxes to even cover the debt. Right. So they're lining their pockets with fake money.
Well, that's just printing. They printed it, and now they have the Ukraine situation to where they're sending all the printed money over to Ukraine to funnel it into their corrupt shit.
You know, they don't plan on these kids paying any taxes.
Right.
They don't want them to pay. They know they're not going to pay any taxes. I mean, who are we kidding? How are they going to pay taxes? They're not even working.
Yeah.
I think it's like 50 to 51% of the population's on welfare. I mean, how does that even make sense?
It doesn't.
How do you fund the government off the other 50 or 49%? It's not even possible.
No.
That's why the debt ceiling in the last 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
It doubled every 10 years or so. It's ridiculous if you look back at it. I mean, and through Trump, what we get $6 trillion added to the debt or something like that through COVID, and where'd all that money go? Where's it all at?
Yeah, all that PPE.
It's in the pocket of the select few. That's where it's at.
The ones who already knew what was coming
and then
before it even started.
You know, if you and I do insider trading and we make $100, we're going to go to jail. These guys insider trade every single day. They go in there making 50 to 75 to 100 grand, and they're millionaires in a couple of years. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. I'd like to know that business plan. How's it work?
Well, you remember growing up when they brought all the mafia people, when all those news stories about busting this mob family, that mob family, all they did was took out their competition and then put their own shit in place.
Yeah, they turned them into, instead of, they said, listen, guys, you're doing it the wrong way.
Yeah.
We'll show you how to do it where you won't get in trouble.
Yeah.
We're going to show you how to do it the clean way. You just got to make sure we get our cut.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all that comes down to. I mean, you can see it in the FBI. The FBI was...
the alphabet.
The FBI was probably one of the, best police agencies out there when it was created.
Yeah.
But it quickly turned into just another political police force. That's all it is now.
Yeah.
Just like the IRS, it's a big political police force.
Well, all the alphabets. You got FBI, CIA, IRS.
Yeah, exactly.
They're just all corrupt arms of the government.
Yeah, the CIA's helping people, helping these drug lords and then helping these warlords, and they're all getting rich off of it.
Did you see that? There was an article just yesterday that Ukrainian weapons, U.S. sent weapons to Ukraine, and now those weapons are turning up in the hands of Mexican cartel.
Really?
Yes.
Boy, that was a quick shit.
That was a quick turnaround.
That sounds like that thing bypassed Ukraine.
Yeah. I don't think they went. I don't think they even bothered going over there. They just they pushed it over the fence.
Exactly. That was a part of Fast and Furious, probably.
Well, no, these are newer.
I know.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Well, but that's just it. Stuff like that, Fast and Furious. There's a history. Every time they get caught.
Oh yeah, they blow it off.
Oh, we're not doing it anymore. No. They're still fucking doing it.
That was botched there. We weren't trying to do that. It just ended up happening that way.
Yeah.
Just like you were saying with the governor up in Michigan.
Right.
13 or 14 of them?
Yeah, 12 of them were FBI agents.
Yeah.
The other 2 were the masterminds behind it. Yeah. I mean, come on, who do you think the mastermind was? The government went in there, they set them guys up for whatever reason. Something had to be going on that they're hiding. And he had this kidnapping plot.
Actually, if you look into it, it was just that these guys were gullible enough to buy into it. They were trying to create a story. They wanted to manufacture they've been trying since 2016 to ramp up the white supremacy storyline, and every time they do, it falls apart instantly.
Yeah. I mean, look at what they did at the Capitol just recently. They took a U-Haul truck there.
Yeah.
With he had to be an Arabian guy with a swastika. I mean, are you kidding me?
Right.
I mean, you couldn't. What they couldn't. They were that pathetic. They couldn't even find a white guy to do it.
Exactly.
You couldn't find a broke white guy. I mean, come on. If I want to find a broke white guy, I'd just go down to Los Angeles in the homeless. I can guarantee I could get 10 of them that I could have paid to do that. I would only have to pay them $100 and give them a plane ticket.
But yeah, well, and look at what they were doing just a week prior to that down there in D.C. They had the FBI. They put their little white masks on and went and marched for white supremacy, acting like they were some white supremacist group.
What cracks me up too is listen. I'm not for any of the shit that happened down at the Capitol.
Yeah.
During the presidency inauguration or certifying the election.
Right.
Let's face it, those guys busted a little stuff down. Somebody got killed, but we had people burning whole cities to the ground,
right?
And we didn't arrest a single person. We didn't convict anybody of burning down millions upon millions of dollars and destroying. Those people weren't destroying their own cities. Those people were brought in there to do a job, and not one of them got arrested for it.
And they were paid.
Absolutely,
they were paid with. Government funded. They were government funded riots.
Well, yeah,
there's no other way to say it. Just because they funneled it through a shell company to then give it to these people doesn't mean that they didn't still provide that front money.
Where are you going to get, pallets of bricks just happen to be strewn throughout the streets?
Oh my God! Crazy.
Let's have a riot. You know what? We're gonna go buy pallets of bricks, and we're gonna have the brick company. Hey, just drop these off randomly throughout the city. No, that's not gonna throw up any red flags. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well, and then anybody who was actually like smash and grabbing was dressed all in black, and they were very uniformly. And that's the one thing. Like when you see. I forget when it's agent provocateurs. When you see agent provocateurs, you can clearly tell because they still wear a uniform. It's so bizarre to where it's 2023. You can't figure out how to get people to blend in with the crowd.
Well, they just like I said. I don't think it comes down to partly they just don't care.
Right.
Because they know nothing's going to happen.
Right.
The problem is they have everybody living paycheck to paycheck in this country.
Yeah.
And some of them can't even make it that far. They're taking payday advance loans.
Yeah.
So they can't even have the time to look to see what's actually going on.
No.
They're just looking to feed their family the next day. They're not even looking the week. They're looking, what the hell am I going to do today when I get home? Am I going to be able to rub enough nickels together to buy my kid a sandwich?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it comes down to. So nobody even has the time to look and actually wake up and see what the hell is going on out there.
No.
Because if they did, they'd be like, this is ridiculous.
Right.
You got, let's just talk about the Writers Guild that's on strike right now. So you got Jimmy Kimmel go up there. He goes up there and says, this is ridiculous. Let's pay the people. We need to give them more money. Yeah. All right, well, you're making $15 million to do the show. That guy's making $100,000.
Yeah.
Why don't you take a pay cut and tell him, listen, I'm going to take $10 million, divide the other $5 million between the people that are writing all the content because I'm not smart enough to write it myself. I'm just taking their ideas and using them, and I'm making a ton of money off of it. You don't see him doing that.
He doesn't write his own monologues.
He doesn't write
That's
anything.
why he needs those fuckers to write his jokes. And he's just the face.
How many night shows are there? 3 or 4?
Dude, no. There's like 6 or 7. But that's just it. Nobody fucking watches that shit anymore.
Oh, a lot of them do. But
they watch them in clips on YouTube now.
But they're all those guys are averaging, I think it's $15 million a piece to do them.
Yeah.
So you take the 6 of them, they take a $5 million pay cut each. Because I think they can live off $10 million.
Oh, yeah.
So that gives you $30 million to pay these people. It's not rocket science.
No. If you're trying to get your average people to survive on $50,000 to $60,000 a year.
I mean, these riders probably be happy with another $30,000, $40,000.
Right.
If you take $30 million, that's a lot. It takes a lot of people.
Oh, heck
exactly.
Yeah.
So, but and then you got Jimmy Kimmel who acts like he's this perfect person. He cut his teeth with making women look like garbage and taking advantage of them. But he wants to talk about how he's. Trump's this and Trump's like, get out of here. You had girls jumping on trampolines and bikinis. You joke. Who you trying to kid? You're a piece of garbage. Why don't you know what? You should pay reparations to all them women you had jumping on trampolines.
Yeah.
Every single one of them should sue you for reparations and a percentage of your income because they probably got paid little to anything to jump on the trampoline.
Right.
So why don't you pay them?
Yeah.
Or let's talk about Howard Stern. All that guy did was fought the government because he wanted to be able to say what he wanted to say and talk dirty to women and throw baloney at their ass and do all this other nonsense to him.
Yeah.
And now he wants to act like he's this saving grace and he's going to save them all. Why don't you take your money and pay reparations to them? You want to pay reparations to the slaves. Well, why do you pay reparations to them? Because they're all slaves to you.
Right.
I know. I loved Howard Stern. I thought he was great, but that was before he became a turncoat. That's all he is.
Yeah.
He made his millions. He's happy now. So now what he's gonna do is he figured out he was making millions that way. So now he's gonna turn it around. Now he knows he can make millions being part of the new woke clan. So now he's gonna do that.
Well, that's blowing up. And did you see like all the? We're now in Pride Month, and now it took a turn for the worse this year. Like, ever since. Well, I mean, I think to me, the stories that have been coming out about the protests against the woke stuff that started with the Bud Light BS, okay? Yeah. I think that's all just media narrative to mask the fact that the US dollar is slowly going into the toilet.
I mean, that could be part of it, but I don't know. It all comes down to everything's about money,
right?
Whether the dollar's going in the toilet or not, they're going to make their money. That's
right.
all they're worried about making. And they're worried about making as much as they can.
Well, but just trying to write off the fact that trying to keep people buying shit when the fact is they may not be able to fucking buy anything with $1 soon.
Well, I mean, the numbers just came out today. We had 339,000 jobs added.
Yeah.
And unemployment raised 3.5 or 3.7%.
Yeah.
How are we adding all these jobs? I mean, I don't understand what's going on.
It's just a numbers game.
Yeah,
all
exactly.
they do is go into a little pooter. Boop. Oh, the numbers went up.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey.
Well, so
there's no fucking proof.
They're going to raise inflation? I mean, what's the game plan here? I mean,
wow.
They're going to raise the interest rate again to try to... Listen, they're not going to slow down. Let inflation do what it's going to do.
Right.
It's going to make an adjustment.
Yeah.
Let it adjust on its own. You think you're smart enough? I mean, they make up their own names for stuff.
Yeah.
Transitory inflation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Put 1,000 people in a room and ask them what that means. There's a single one that's going to tell you. You know why? Because it was made up.
Yeah.
They made it up. Then you have this yelling go on TV. Well, I thought it was going to be transitory. I didn't think it was going to be that bad. Yeah, you also thought we were going to run out of money by June 1st, and then magically we're not going to run out of money till June 5th. I mean, are you kidding me? You've been running the government. I think she's been in office. I don't know how long she's had her position, but it was for a while. What, the computer doesn't know how to compute how much money's coming in, how much is going out? We know exactly how much is coming in, how much is going out every day. Exactly. So what, we can't project how much money we have to pay the bills?
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then, you got to love this too, the government. Okay, so we're not going to be able to pay the bills. So whose bright idea was it to not pay Social Security, yet these idiots in office get paid their checks?
Exactly.
Who came up with these rules?
Exactly.
You know why they did that? Because they want the people to go in an uproar. Because if you have millions of people uproar and then you get stuff done, but if you have 200 idiots in there that aren't getting paid, that are millionaires anyways and don't need the money, it's not that big of a deal.
And that's just it. Well, they are still getting paid because they're doing the insider trading.
Exactly. They're creating all this stuff so they can make trades on it.
Yeah.
Oh, the stock market's scared. The stock market's going to sell off.
Yeah.
Then they get a tweak that they're going to have a deal done. Oh, now the stock market turned around. It's a good thing I moved my money out of that and put it in that. I'm a genius.
Well, and did you see what happened with like the GameStop and stuff? Once the internet figures out how to play, then they need to go and fix the game again.
But then they get upset. Exactly. When somebody else figures out their game, now it's time to change the rules.
Yeah.
Because we don't want you guys to make money because that cuts into the money we're making.
Exactly. So. And that's just it. Well, I mean, it's a weird world where there is enough people that know, but they have enough people.
But even the people that know, it's
like you said, where there's too many.
It's so minute.
Yeah.
Even if you had 1 million people that knew.
Yeah.
There's 330 million people.
Yeah.
330 plus million people.
Yeah.
80 million vote?
Yeah.
So even if out of that million that have any clue what's going on, and like you said, you don't vote.
Yeah.
So now,
you don't vote change. There is no voting any change.
No.
Because all it is a baton passing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And like, even if I was registered to vote and voted on a local level, like I mean, that stuff, those people don't have enough power and turnaround to do any good in the time that they're in office at a local level.
Well, exactly, and even at a federal level.
Yeah.
If you get 10 people in there,
yeah,
what the hell's 10 people gonna do?
Exactly.
They ain't gonna do shit unless you're like Manchin, where you were actually a deciding vote.
Yeah.
Then you have a lot of power.
Yeah.
But that's the problem with a two-party system.
Yeah.
There's never going to be the chance of that's so rare.
Yeah.
And then when you have that chance, now everybody. You think the Democrats want to get rid of Manchin more than anybody, but it's actually the Republicans, which makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
That guy did nothing really to harm any of us.
Yeah.
Or any Republicans.
Well, just in the name, Democrat and Republican, the parties and their belief systems over the course of the history of this nation switched.
Oh, exactly.
They were able to even do stuff like that.
Yeah, where, complete switch.
Yeah, and it was around like the Civil War times, and nobody bats an eye when they're presented those types of facts. The people who bought in to the indoctrination of the public school systems and all that stuff, like to watch how annoyed they get when they get information that doesn't jive with their story.
Exactly.
It ruffles it up.
Listen, you can tell a story about a Republican to a Democrat and say a Democrat said it and it's the best thing in the world. Yeah. But the minute you tell them actually that was a Republican, you can say you got them caught. Yeah. And it's on both sides.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It goes back to the purple monster.
Exactly.
That's all it is.
They're the best. See, they're smart because it's a lot easier to get 400 or 500 people to do something and agree on it than it is to get millions of people to agree on it.
Exactly.
So all they do is plant the seeds of destruction.
Yeah.
This guy said that about the black guy. The black people are terrible, or white people are this or that, and you get them in an uproar. Yep. And you do it right before the election. So now you got these people all upset over something that was premeditated or made up. Yeah. But now you got the results you wanted out of it.
Exactly.
It happens all the time, and you think that people would smarten up.
Well,
and figure out that, hey, this is a real problem. And you look at even abortion. You got the Republicans who are so far out left field on it, so you're telling me that you'd rather have somebody raise somebody that they don't want, right, rather than let them abort that fetus at an early stage. Personally, I don't think it's why would we force somebody to have something they don't want, a kid that they don't want? Right. Now, it's different. The other thing you run into is, somebody's got to say, when's a life a life? Right. Because, if my wife gets pregnant and she wants to have an abortion, she can go have an abortion. Say she's 6 months, 6 weeks, 9 weeks into it, she can have an abortion. Now, she's driving in the car, you're drinking and driving, even though she wanted to have an abortion. She's drinking and you're drinking and driving, you hit her and kill her the baby. Yeah. Now you can charge her murder of a fetus. Yeah. So how do you get charged with murder? Right. If it's not technically a fetus, but she can abort the baby at the same time and it's not murder. Right. So you can't have it both ways. And that's the problem with this country anymore. Everybody wants to have their cake and eat it too. Yeah. They want, either you have choice, there's got to be at least some kind of rules. Right. And the problem is, even like the Supreme Court. Okay. How do you get these people in there that aren't following the rules? Like I said, listen, it's Republican. I'm a Republican. Yeah. And we got Republican control. But some of the stuff they do, I'm like, what's wrong with you? Yeah. This doesn't even make sense. Yeah. And number two, they should be saying, listen, this isn't the government's, that's not what the government was put here to decide. It's not our decision. Yeah. It's not the state's decision, it's the person's decision. And that's why are we getting involved in every little thing people do? And that's the problem, is that there's become too much micromanagement of people's lives. We're going to tell somebody who they can bake a cake for. Yeah. If somebody doesn't like that they baked the cake for them, then we can sue them. Go down the block and buy a cake from the next guy. Why would you want to support somebody that doesn't support you anyway? It doesn't even make sense. Listen, if I don't like somebody, I'm not going to support them. No. I wouldn't buy from them if I don't like them, or if they don't believe, if they're not happy, if they don't want to sell me, fine, I'll go buy it. What, are they the last cake person in the world? Exactly. You can't buy the cake somewhere else. We gotta spend federal dollars to fight over something like that. Yeah. It's completely ridiculous. Yeah. And that's just it. Well, that's just a drop in the bucket of just the ridiculousness. But it's just crazy. Do we have stuff we really need to deal with? I think we do, other than dealing with bullshit. Well, how about the fact of all these missing kids? How about the fact that we did not stop when we had Department of Homeland Security whistleblower sit in front of a congressional hearing and say that the United States government there's clear evidence that the United States government is the middleman in the
biggest human trafficking system in the world.
Well,
we didn't stop and be like, you know what? We should do something about this.
No, because we're profiting off of it. Why would we do something about that? That's a big money. That's a big source of money.
Well, that's just it. And I mean,
let's face it. At the end of the day, when the economy's shit,
yeah,
and people aren't buying shit,
yeah,
what do they buy? They buy food, they buy beer,
yep,
they buy cigarettes,
yep,
and they buy sexual related shit. And
yep,
that's just the truth.
Yep.
I don't know of any strip club or beer distributor or even marijuana dispensary that's going to go out of business no matter what the economy is.
Right.
Because people will find a way to spend money on it.
Everyone finds a way.
It doesn't matter. They'll
if they've
figure it out.
got $40 in their pocket,
Exactly.
that's what they're spending.
$40.
On.
Am I going to buy something for my kids or am I going to feed my addiction?
Yeah.
Chances are
9 times out of 10,
they're going to feed their addiction.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's just the way it is.
Yeah. With the way that that's that's just being it is what it is. It's being a realist.
Exactly. It's just that's what's going on. I mean, you can't turn your back to it. It's happening. That's what's happening.
Well, but that's the thing is everybody is in their own little echo chamber and doesn't want to come out of their echo chamber.
Exactly.
And we hear what we want to hear when we want to hear it. We have a device in our hands that lets us access only what we want to interact with, but yet we still have so much being forced into that feed from the outside. Like when you look at Facebook and stuff, the stuff that they will push to the front versus the stuff that they shadow ban where it won't even come up in a feed.
Yeah.
And I mean, and that's, Facebook owns Instagram. And then you got them worried about TikTok. They're all fucking taking the data.
Exactly.
They're all doing it. They've all
it.
been fucking doing it. They were created for that.
That's what they did.
Facebook
Exactly.
launched the same day that the CIA terminated Project Lifeline or something like that. It was a government-sponsored Facebook that they were setting up, and then they shut it down and went active with a live version of a public. They were testing it. They were doing everything behind the scenes, government-wise, and then they changed the name and put it out in the public as this is I'm sure they did the same thing with fucking Twitter. I'm sure if you look at it, I'm sure
they're just upset because China owns it. I mean, let's face it.
Well, exactly.
That's what they're upset about.
It is the China of it all,
Yeah.
and it's not even there's a U.S. branch of TikTok. There is a U.S. There is money being made on the U.S. side.
They're making money.
Yeah,
they're acting like they're spying on us.
Well, they're using it.
No, exactly.
They're using it to try and pass. What was that thing called? It's a monster of a bill.
Yeah.
Where it has some stupid acronym.
Pretty much, they were gonna do it to track that, but just like when they did the Patriot Act.
Yeah.
It was supposed to stop terrorist bullshit, but all it did was intrude on the American people's privacy more and more.
Exactly.
And they create a problem to make you think, oh, we better have the government help us.
Exactly.
The government ain't gonna help you. Let's face it. If you want help, you better help yourself. I taught my kids years ago. There isn't a single law in this country that's created to protect anybody.
Right.
Every law is created to make money one way or the other. Well, that's all it's about. It's not about protect. They can tell you they're doing it to protect this. Bullshit. They made all these banking laws.
Yeah.
Wells Fargo goes and creates millions of fake accounts.
Yeah.
And California sues them over it. How many of the people that had the fake accounts made in their name got a penny out of that?
Right.
Nobody.
No.
You know how much money California got? A shitload.
Oh, fuck.
Millions, if not billions of dollars in fines.
Yeah.
Well, why didn't all these people that were harmed, why didn't they get money?
Exactly.
Why didn't they get big payoffs?
Exactly.
You
well,
know?
J.P. Morgan Chase. It turns out they were basically they were the purse for the fucking Epstein, the whole Epstein thing. Yeah.
Well, look at them. They come in and save this last bank.
Yeah.
I'd love to buy a business out and tell the government, listen, I'm going to buy this business.
Yeah.
I want all the good shit, and you're going to take all the debt.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm going to go down. I'm going to buy this distribution busin's.
Yeah.
We're going to take all the inventory,
Yeah.
and you're going to pay for it all.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best deal in the world.
Right.
And let's do it on a Sunday when nobody's paying attention to what the hell's going on.
Well, and that's just it. If you look at all the stories that get dumped to a Friday,
Oh, it's absolutely.
Friday stories,
Yeah.
like, dude, moving forward, we might take the Friday stories and be
Start
like,
on Monday.
what the hell is this?
Yeah.
This is what we fucking need to talk about.
That's
this is
exactly
the shit
why
they tried to
do it.
sneak in.
Because the people that do figure it out, they get pissed off, but then they go through the weekend and they get, they calm down.
They drink.
Yeah, it's just like anything.
They unwind.
You get in an argument, you don't go talk about the argument right away. You let everybody calm down, then you get cooler heads prevail and they talk about it. Well, they do the same shit. They get you all pissed off on a Friday at the end of the day, and then by the time the weekend's over, you're all cooled down. And you know what time it is? Time to go back to work.
Different narrative.
We don't have time for we don't have time for anything. We gotta work.
Yeah. Just go.
We gotta go make money so we can pay the mortgage next week.
Yep.
Because I can't tell the bank, listen, I only had a 4-day work week.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna need an extra day to pay the mortgage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we should all just start taking a playbook out of the government. Hey, I need some more money printed. Just go print it.
Yeah, but why can't we get a printer? We'll just print some money out.
I mean, the Federal Reserve isn't a part of the United States government. It's one of the biggest lies that they've ever been able to.
I mean, these guys. Let's face it. These politicians are supposed to work for the people.
Yeah.
So I don't think they should get paid until they can balance the budget.
Right.
Why the hell are we? Why can they just go and say, you know what, we're going to spend X amount of dollars, even though we know we're only going to bring in Y.
Yeah.
But we're going to spend
and
X.
It's not going to cover anything.
It's not going to cover anything. Not only is it not going to cover anything, it's going to put us deep in debt.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter because we'll just print more money. You know, if every American lived like that, which, to be honest with you, some people do now with credit cards.
Right.
You know, they're always going to have that balance on there.
Yeah.
And, but not like the government. I mean, that's just totally out of whack.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, but these guys, maybe they should be performance paid.
Right.
How many of them would want to do the job then?
There you go.
You're performance paid, and when you take the position, you're no longer allowed to trade any stocks.
Yeah.
You or your wife
are
not allowed in the stock market at all.
Yeah.
You can't do anything.
Yeah.
So the only money that you should be making will be your salary as a senator, which is $200 to $200, whatever it is, $200,000, that's something like that.
Yeah.
Which are still overpaid, but that's what your pay is.
Yeah. Well, and that's like, look at even after that, like they go into those positions and then they get top level positions at these companies that they help produce laws and policies for. To you know what I mean? Like the head of the CDC, that bitch. Now she's working for Pfizer.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Now they're not a part of the government and whatnot, but. They should. Well, I mean.
Well, they're
an alphabet.
Exactly.
They're an alphabet branch.
They're part.
Technically,
they part of the government.
Yeah.
Just like
that's how they get away with so much of it. Well, they're not technically a part of us.
Just like this, they're talking about this pandemic treaty or whatever they want to get into, their pandemic pact.
Yeah.
That the World Health Organization is talking about.
Yeah.
That they want everybody to sign on to.
Yeah.
You see that they're talking about? It's going to give them all sorts of control over anybody in the world when there's a pandemic.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Nope. Yeah, we saw how that went last time.
That went real well.
Yeah.
That was just all that was
test run.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was a small test run to see what we can do. See how much. Let's see how far we can push these people before they jump off the ledge.
There are still people driving around with a mask on in their car by themselves in 2023.
Listen, some people.
They bought it. They bought it hook, line, and sinker,
just tells
they will
you,
never come back out of that matrix.
You know, I was in the store during the pandemic, and there was God bless them, an older couple in there. They were buying food.
Yeah. And
there they are. Every piece of food that they picked off can, whatever they picked off the shelf, they literally wiped it down and put it in the cart. Okay, so let's think about this. You're wearing gloves. You're wearing a mask.
Yeah.
You're wiping down every piece you put in the cart.
Yeah.
What happens when you take it out of the cart and put it on the belt for the cashier to check it out?
Yeah.
Are you then going to wipe it down before you put it in the bag?
Right.
And then you got these people that obviously don't know how to use a trash can, not that older couple, but just anybody in general. I don't think I've ever seen as many rubber gloves and masks on the ground in my life that you go outside of a Walmart or a Home Depot and the parking lot looks like confetti with all these, you can't throw stuff in the garbage?
Right.
You're so worried about spreading germs, you're going to throw stuff on the floor.
Yeah.
And then after you're touching everything in the store with the gloves, then you proceed to get in your car with the gloves and touch your steering wheel.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. People are just, it's ridiculous.
You can't fix stupid.
No.
And it is easier to fool people than it is to prove that or to make them believe that they've been fooled.
You're talking about the pandemic. You got Nancy Pelosi in the beginning walking through Chinatown saying there is no pandemic.
Yeah.
There's nothing to worry about. Look at me. I'm walking around. And then all of a sudden
her
now
handlers got a hold of her.
Yeah.
That's not the storyline anymore.
Oh, no, that was the storyline then.
Well, that's just it.
Two weeks later, it got flipped, and
Yeah.
Trump's an idiot, and there's a pandemic, and he should have told us about it.
Yeah.
Get the hell out of here. You guys probably knew about it before he did, because you planned it.
Well, November of 2019, I'm working for the state, okay? They started to implement a rule. Nobody could fully tell where this rule came from, because a lot of us were questioning it, that if you did not get your flu shot, you had to wear a mask.
Okay.
They were already implementing mask procedures
they were prepping you.
in November of 2019, and that's clearly what it was. It was they needed to get these things out and get them in place, and needed it to be there to be ready for what was coming around the corner.
Oh, well, yeah, we live in PA here, and our great governor, there's no PPE. We need PPE. It was all sitting down in the farm show complex, stacked to the ceiling.
They couldn't have a farm show down there because it was fucking filled.
There's no PPE. Then all of a sudden a whistleblower takes a picture of all this shit in the warehouses, and they're like, what do you mean? It's all right here. We've been sitting on it for months.
And then they claim, oh, we didn't know it was there.
Yeah, we didn't know we put all that stuff there, even though it was never there ever. But now all of a sudden
somebody signed off on fucking storing it there.
Absolutely.
It didn't just appear.
It probably did. The PPE ferry dropped it off.
Yeah.
That's what happened, and nobody knew about it.
Well,
it's supposed to be dropped off at a different location.
But those types of excuses and quote unquote incompetence is what the fuck turns around, and this is why they keep kicking the cans.
Well, then our governor
passing the batons.
Our governor too. So our governor owned. He was part of Wolf Industries or whatever, big, huge building material. Before he was the governor, that was his family business.
Yeah.
So during a pandemic, contractors couldn't go into people's homes unless it was an emergency.
Yeah.
Yet this guy's selling all this home improvement shit.
Huh.
Well, who's he selling it to?
Right.
Nobody's supposed to be going anywhere.
Yeah.
But that was an essential business.
Yeah.
But the guys doing roofs and doing windows and doing carpet and doing whatever, those guys weren't essential, but it was essential to sell this material. How did that make any sense?
Boy, he was probably shipping it out of state.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It was shipping it everywhere. He's probably shipping it in-state too.
Because, absolutely.
Because during the pandemic, we needed all this material because every homeowner became a contractor, apparently, I guess. That must have been the game plan.
Yeah.
Even though they weren't supposed to go, well, then again, Home Depot was open. You were allowed to go there.
Oh, essential.
You're allowed to go there. You're allowed to. It was essential,
Big box.
Yeah,
essential.
they were essential. Exactly.
Mom and pop.
Not
Fuck
essential.
you. We're closing you down.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what this is all about. We got to close you down and pump up those corporations.
And then, they pump all this pandemic money in.
Yeah.
I was actually, to be honest with you, I was surprised they came out with all this money to help these small businesses.
Right.
But the only reason they did it is because 90% of them own small businesses. They were putting that money right in their pocket. They're like, yeah, we're going to get $2 million from these bullshit loans at 1% interest or 2 or 3% interest, and then we're going to get all this paycheck protection money. Shit, yeah. It just cracks me up that, these Burger Kings and stuff that were huge places had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of employees, if not thousands.
Yeah.
They made sure they put each location as a separate business, and they were allowed to get the money.
Yeah.
Or you got all the hotel chains, which they across the country, they own hundreds of them.
Oh, yeah.
They were one business.
Oh, yeah.
But they were, we're going to put a clause in there that we can do it per hotel.
Because they're a small business.
Yeah, because they're a small business now. Now all of a sudden they're a small business.
Across the country.
Exactly. We got, or look at the basketball organizations that were taking the money.
Right.
Because they were a small business. Are you kidding me?
Well, sports in general. Like, you want to talk about having money to spare? Dude, shut it down. Oh. We don't need basketball. We don't need fucking football. We don't need that shit anymore.
Well, the other thing is, listen, if they want to do it, fine.
Right.
But why should the state taxpayers pay for all these stadiums and bullshit? It's not benefited. Listen, you're not going to tell me that the payback is actually worth it. No. There's no way.
No.
Big deal. We have a little bit of tourism out of it. It's so minute.
Look at what happens down in Philly. Every time there's a game.
Yeah. You go down to Philly at a baseball game, you better not be from the opposing team because there's probably a 10 or 15% chance you're not going to make it out of the parking lot alive.
Philadelphia are the only sports teams in the country that need a judge on staff to be able to try people.
They have a prison right in the stadium. We're going to put you in the halftime jail because you're getting a little crazy. But I mean, it's. I don't know.
It's the state of stupidity.
It's absolutely the state of stupidity.